Okay, let's dive right in. We're doing a deep dive today, specifically into Genesis chapter 20.
Right, it's quite a story. You've got Abraham moving into the Negev region.
Near Gerar,
Mm,
and the king there is Abimelech.
exactly. And the central conflict spins up almost immediately,
Abraham tells people Sarah, his wife, is actually his sister.
which, leads King Abimelech to hear about her and believing Abraham. Well, he takes her into his household.
But then things take a sharp turn, right? Divine intervention.
Oh, absolutely. God comes straight to Abimelech in a dream that very night.
And it's not like a subtle hint either.
Not at all. God basically says, you're a dead man because of the woman you took. She's married. Pretty direct warning.
Wow, okay, but Abimelech, even in the dream, he pushes back a bit.
He does. He points out he hasn't actually gone near Sarah, and he asks God, will you destroy an innocent nation?
He emphasizes that both Abraham and Sarah said she was his sister.
Right. He pleads his case, clear conscience, clean hands. He genuinely believed the story.
So does God accept that defense? How does that square with the death threat?
Well, yes, God actually confirms it. He says something like, yes, I know you did this with a clear conscience.
Ah, okay.
And that's why I kept you from sinning against me. I didn't let you touch her. So God actively prevented the sin.
But the instruction, the threat, it still stands.
It does. Right after acknowledging his innocence, God says, now return the man's wife. And here's a key part. For he is a prophet.
A prophet. Interesting label for Abraham right at that moment.
It is. He will pray for you and you will live. But if you don't return her, know for sure you and all yours will die. So innocence acknowledged, but action required with serious consequences attached.
So Abimelech wakes up. I imagine he's pretty shaken.
Understandably terrified, yeah. First thing next morning, he calls Abraham in.
And confronts him. What does he say?
His questions are pointed. What have you done to us? How did I ever wrong you that you'd bring such great guilt on me and my kingdom?
Yeah, he sounds genuinely bewildered and frankly wronged. He adds, you've done things to me that should never be done.
He really lays into him, demanding to know why. Why put everyone in such danger?
So how does Abraham answer for himself? It seems like a tough spot.
It is, and his explanation is, well, it's layered. First, he says he was afraid.
Afraid.
Yeah, he says, I thought surely there's no fear of God in this place and they'll kill me because of my wife.
So fear was the primary motivator, he claims.
That's the first reason. But then he adds, besides, she actually is my sister.
Wait, really? How?
He explains she's his half-sister, daughter of his father, but not his mother. So technically true, but deeply misleading in context.
The partial truth defense, is that all?
No, he also admits this wasn't spontaneous. It was a prearranged agreement they had.
An agreement.
He says, when God had me wander from my father's household, I said to her, this is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere we go, say of me, he is my brother.
So it was a long-standing plan to handle potentially dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Still, quite the justification after the fact.
It really is. You'd expect Abimelech to be furious, maybe punitive.
But his reaction is surprisingly generous.
Incredibly so. He gives Sarah back, obviously, but then he showers Abraham with gifts, sheep, cattle, servants.
And he offers him land too, right?
Yes, basically says, look, my land is open to you. Live wherever you want. It's quite the turnaround.
And there's that specific gesture towards Sarah herself, the silver.
That's a really significant detail. He gives Abraham 1,000 shekels of silver for Sarah, saying, essentially, this is for your vindication before everyone.
You are completely vindicated. That phrase stands out.
It does. He's publicly clearing her name, acknowledging the wrong done to her, even though his own part was unintentional, and providing compensation. It's about restoring her standing.
A remarkable act of, well, justice or reconciliation, maybe.
Something like that. And then there's the final piece, the healing.
Right, because God had threatened Abimelech's whole household and mentioned closing wombs.
Exactly. The text explicitly states the Lord had closed up all the wombs in Abimelech's household because of Sarah.
So Abraham, the prophet God mentioned.
He prays. Abraham prays for Abimelech, and God heals him, his wife, and his female slaves so they could have children again. The consequence is directly linked to Sarah, and Abraham's prayer reverses it.
Wow. What a complex episode. Fear, deception, near disaster, divine intervention, unexpected generosity, and finally, healing.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About trust, how fear motivates us, the unforeseen consequences of even partial truths, and God's Very direct involvement.
So reflecting on this may be something for you, the listener, to consider. You have these different levels of knowledge and intent playing out. Abraham knows the whole truth but acts out of fear with a half-truth. Abimelech is acting in ignorance, claiming innocence. God, of course, knows everything.
Right. And given that complexity, think about Abimelech's payment to Sarah and that specific statement of vindication. What does that suggest about addressing harm or offense, even when it was caused unintentionally or based on misinformation? How important is that public act of making things right? Something to ponder.